Good morning from the lovely US. I'm in a new location. Looks like the lighting is a challenge. I'll have to change that and fix that moving forward, I guess. All right, let me see where I am here. I wonder. First, let's see if we are live. We are fantastic. I'm also going to try and let me shut this light. Let's see if that helps at all. Oh, now it's even darker. Let's see. We'll make it work. We'll get things fixed and set up for next time. But here we are. That's not gonna work. In a darkened space, a little bit better. For there we go. Perfect. That looks nice. All right. For a go of our Spredict UFC stream. My name is Fred Endy. I am one of the founders of Spredict. Spredict is a predictive gaming platform. It's designed to provide opportunities that you wouldn't find on other platforms or tools. And we do that in three ways. First, we build out game structures that don't exist as part of other predictive gaming platforms. And we do that by incorporating a wide variety of elements and kind of options into our games. And we'll take a look at one of those shortly. We are also built around a subscription structure. So to fully utilize Spredict, you purchase monthly subscriptions, which allow you to have access to the games that exist within our portfolio, which are currently UFC, building out F1. We've got structures in place for non-sports ecosystem focused on crypto and price predictions. And then the third piece is we customize build-outs of predictive gaming pools. And so the idea is if you were gathering with friends or family, maybe to watch UFC 319, you'd be able to work with us to build out your own pools to compete on, whether that be at no cost or for cost or whatever it might be. And so today what we're going to do is utilize the Spredict app to make our selections for UFC 319. And it is a doozy. That main event has the potential to be an incredible fight. And there are some other really interesting fights across the cards. We'll take a look at four from the main card shortly. So the first thing that you're going to do, and you can do this all at no cost. You go to dap.spredict.io, and you'll be able to play and make your own predictions as we take the next few minutes to go over the card. And so why don't we start by doing that? I am going to share my screen. And so that way you'll be able to see our DAP as we chat about it. So let me pull that window up. Okay, so at the moment you should be looking at the Spredict DAP on screen. And again, dap.spredict.io, you can see it at the bottom of our streaming window. You'll notice that the DAP is laid out to make participating as easy as possible. I'm going to walk you through kind of the basic layout of the DAP, and then we'll dive into making our picks. On the right-hand side, you'll see the live odds of what people have picked so far. You'll also see these little stars, which we'll talk about momentarily. Our socials are up along the bottom. Up at the top right is the place to connect your wallet. Our DAP is currently on the Abstract testnet, so I'm going to connect via Abstract Wallet. There we go, fantastic. In the center of the screen, you'll see our pools, which we'll come back to momentarily. And then on the left, you've got a number of buttons. We are in the play tab of the Spredict ecosystem. DeFi, when it's available, will allow you to monitor your rewards, collect anything that you have from your play or other reward opportunities via the wallet that you've connected. Below that are all the game categories within our ecosystem. Currently, we're in the MMA category. We're playing the face-off game. Below that is a game called Tap Out, which is focused on finishing style that we are developing. Uh, this, when our Formula One ecosystem goes live, you'll be able to toggle over to that. We're building out as shared a crypto ecosystem. You'll find that there. And then rewards is where you'll be able to see any rewards that you've accumulated through participation in our Spredict Pass. Our Spredict Pass is what allows you to play for prizes. So you'll always be able to play and interact with parts of Spredict at no cost. By purchasing a Spredict Pass, you'll be able to play and compete for prizes. And that all comes through at the top of our DApp window in the center. You'll see live event, which is what we are playing now, past results, which will show you how you've done over past weeks, and then our leaderboard, where you'll see how you rank against others who also have opted in to play in the Spredict Pass category. We also provide a number of instructions in the event where you want to see how to play a given game. And then, of course, in the center are our pools and where to make your picks. And so that's what we're going to get started with. And we're going to jump in with, well, let's see, where do we want to start today? Because both the main event and then the last fight that's on the card are of particular interest to me. By the way, this UFC 319 is taking place in Chicago, Illinois, at the United Center. So a great location for UFC 319. It is a banger of an event. You got a middleweight title fight, which will be fantastic with lots of heavy hits. And as I shared, some of the prelims and then other main card fights are really interesting too. There are some great fighters on the prelim line also, which doesn't always happen in a given UFC event. So we're gonna skip the main event for now. I'm also gonna skip the last fight, the other middleweight fight that's on there, and we're gonna go to our welterweight battle, and that's got Jeff Neal, 16-6 of the United States, facing off against Carlos Prates, right, who's 21-7 of Brazil. Now, Carlos has the advantage physically. He's 2 inches taller, and then Jeff, 6'1" to 5'11". He's also 3 years younger. Not a significant difference there, but enough to mention. Also got 3 additional inches of reach, right? So Pretz has the general advantage physically. Now, Neal has won 3 of his last 5 fights, most recently with a knockout of Dos Anjos in October. He's fought some solid fighters like Machado Gary, right, who we've talked about a number of times before in our predictive gaming kind of streams. And that was a split decision loss. So, Neal has had a decent fight resume, dealt some damage in a variety of fights. One of Neal's struggles is if you watch him fight, he doesn't bring a significant amount of intensity. It either looks like he's reserved or he just doesn't have that high level of energy to really seemingly give it his all in each of his fights. You would hope that someone with his level of experience would be able to put behind his fights. What is interesting, though, and worth noting, is he did beat Bilal Muhammad a few years ago. And that, that is not saying nothing, right? Carlos is favored at 250. in this fight, and that is a significant favorite line. He also has fought some solid opponents. He lost to Machado Gary too. This was, I think, back in April. Beaten fighters like Magny, Giles. So he has made his way around the division. So Carlos happens to be a knockout machine, and prior to his loss in April, okay, he had a string of 10 knockout wins going all the way back to 2021. So he did enter the program in 2023, right, and started in UFC with a knockout win, followed by four more knockouts. So he's looked quite good. So for me, my leaning here is to go with the chalk and go with the favorite. Carlos is a significantly strong hitter. He understands what it takes to really put pressure on an opponent and go for the knockout. I still see Neil somewhat like mediocre in the ring and in his level of intensity. For me, giving the win to Carlos Preitz for this fight is what makes the most sense. Um, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the DAP, click on Carlos Preitz, right? And get that pick in. One of the things you'll notice is that in each of the four pools, there is a star next to one of the fighters. And so I talked a little bit about building a variety and opportunity into our design. And the way we basically do that is by creating what we call features like our favorite feature. And our favorite feature with the star works in a really kind of simple way. Instead of just having, let's say, a pick'em where you pick one fighter or the other and that's it, as you compete for points on our leaderboard, the favorite feature in this game comes into play. And the way that works is, let's say you pick the fighter who's got a star next to their name, right? If that fighter ends up winning the fight, okay, you earn a point on the leaderboard. However, let's say that I went with Jeff Neal and Neal won. Okay, as the underdog, according to the Spredict app, if Neal won, you would earn an additional point on the leaderboard. And so there is some strategic thinking that goes into making underdog selections via the Spredict app. And these are not aligned with Vegas lines. This is based on chain data from who has picked whom using our DAP. And so it's a fun way to add another feature into our predictive gaming structure. Different games will have different added elements, all that come into play. And so it's a great opportunity to check out some of the structures we have, which do allow us to be a little bit different. Now, again, if you're just joining us or watching, right, we're making our picks on the Spredict app for UFC 319. dap.spredict.io is where you can go to make your picks as well. So we're going to move on to our featherweight battle. And this is between Lerone Murphy, right? 16-0-1, right? Murphy's from England, and Aaron Pico, 13-4 of the United States. So these two have very similar physical characteristics. Pico does have a solid age advantage. He's 28. Lerone Murphy, 34. Murphy has had an awesome career so far. He really looks good in the octagon. He's patient. You watch him and you see the strategic punches and knees that he is able to employ. He has a really solid chin. He's able to take hits and plays pretty strong defense as well. He happens to be a really good addition to the featherweight division. And despite his age, right, despite being 34, has a lot of potential to continue to move up within the featherweight group. A win here can easily push him towards kind of like top five within the division, which would be a great place for him to be. Aaron Pico enters the program with this fight, right? He has been a Bellator fighter and has looked okay in Bellator. He's got some solid hand and leg movement. He is agile enough. I'm uncertain about his ability to truly go the distance um, against solid fighters. I've watched a couple segments of his fights where he's taken a pop from a fighter and looked totally oblivious, right? So I'm just not sure of his ability to take hits as fights go on. Of the 17 fights he's had, right, only two have gone the distance, right? And Bellator, different program than UFC, of course, right? But um, to have two of 17 go to completion is really surprising, right? And also means that Pico is a fighter who's looking for that knockout, and that may, against a strategic fighter like Lerone Murphy, open him up to shots that wouldn't be the case were he more open to other ways to notch a win. Now, Vegas disagrees with me in this. The line puts Pico in the favorite spot at 185. For me, um, a new fighter coming into the program is always at a slight disadvantage, in my humble opinion. And this is also against a fighter, despite being older, who really has shown his ability to be successful in the featherweight division. So for me, this is a pick of the underdog. I'm going to lock Lerone Murphy in and hope for, on my parlay, a nice win here to ratchet up my earnings. So we're now going to go into the two fights that I am most excited about. The main event, of course, is a banger of a main event. But we're going to go to the other middleweight that's here on the card. Again, dap.spredict.io if you want to join and make your picks for free. So, Jared Cannonier, of the U.S., seen him fight before. He's 18-8. He is a long-term fighter, 41, right? Michael Venom Page, right, of England, 23-3 is his opponent. Page also on the older line. He's 38. Worth also noting that Page is 6'1" to Cannonier's 5'8", right? So that's a full 4 inches of height differential, which is important to consider. Page also has a longer reach, 79 inches, which is insane when you think of fighter reaches. Cannonier, sizable too, 77-5. Right, both have really strong, significant strike accuracy. Page, right, partially due to his reach and size, close to 70%, which is like unheard of, right? So 70% of Cannonier's significant strikes land, which is just amazing, right? It's clear that Cannonier is well fit to end fights in his favor. Neither is incredibly reliant on the takedown, though they can engage in the ground game. Cannonier has won 3 of his last 5 fights, most recently against Rodriguez with a knockout. Cannonier is a tough guy, right? He fights well and has seen it all since he entered the program in 2015, right? A guy who is tough to go against because of his versatility, his skills, and his experience, right? MVP, right, has had an amazing career in Bellator since coming over to UFC. 2 wins to 1 loss. Page is a leanly built middleweight. If you look at him, he looks lanky, he looks thin, and yet he's got like those super long legs, super long arms to connect when he fights. Um, this this man, if you watch him, can hit anything and anyone with a knee, a kick, an elbow, his fists, etc. And he knows how to win. He's had a significant number of knockouts, though only decision-ending fights since coming to UFC. This one to me is an interesting fight. I like both of these fighters. I really do. You've got a stockier grinder and a mobile tall man who are in the ring, in the octagon. Um, MVP is the favorite at 195. I think that's a really well placed line, actually. I expect a fun fight between these two. I like them both. I'd love to see them both win. Obviously, that can't happen. I'm going with Michael Venom Page on this one just because I think in this case, his height, his reach will end up helping him in the end. So this is a pick for Page for me, though. Page is from England, not the U.S., but hey, we'll take it. And then lastly, we're going to go to our main event, the main fight on our card. Um, and this is going to be what I feel is going to be an amazing fight. Join us, make your picks, dap.spredict.io. Log on now, get your pick set. I'm going to follow this up with a $10 parlay. I always like to turn my picks via Spredict into parlays on BetMGM. I had a really solid win, I want to say about a month ago, of it's about $340. Followed that up with another decent win of about 50. My last 2 weeks, I have lost. I went 3 for 4 2 weeks ago. Last week, 2 for 4. So not a great showing last week. Hoping to turn around here. I've got a couple favorites, couple underdogs locked in. So this stands to be a fun one for me, and hopefully, where my parlay will cash. So we've got our title fight of the night within the middleweight division, hard hitting division. Dricus du Plessis of South Africa is 23-2. Current title holder. Got our challenger Khamzat Chimaev, right, 14-0 from the United Arab Emirates. You've got an undefeated fighter against an almost undefeated fighter. Yes, this will be an amazing one. We certainly hope. Two fighters are almost identical in their physical characteristic categories. Chimaev gets the nod for height. He's 1 inch taller. Du Plessis for reach, an additional inch, 76 to 75. Chimaev is more accurate as a striker, 70%, just like Michael Venom Page, right? To 50% for Du Plessis. Both percentages are strong. They're also right around 50% in takedown accuracy. Neither fighter is afraid to get down for the ground and pound. Dricus hasn't lost a fight since 2018, it's worth noting. That's 11 wins in a row. And that was before he even entered the program, right? So since being in UFC, he has had an amazing career. Also, worth noting that despite a split decision win against Strickland in 2024, he had a commanding rematch win over Strickland in February. He also took down Izzy, right, who's the GOAT, about a year ago to defend his title. And, you know, it, you, everyone thinks Izzy is an amazing fighter, right? He's a super memeable fighter, and Du Plessis with that win says a lot. So now he's facing against the upstart, Chimaev. He's a Chad fighter too. Started fighting in 2018, has not lost a fight. He's also favored at 250, right? As or 250 as when I first put this together. So Vegas likes what it sees here from him. Entered the program in 2020, faced off against quite a few solid names. And both, I mean, I have to say, both of these guys' fight resumes look great. Um, Shmaev is a crazy takedown risk taker. He is constantly attempting to put fighters on the ground. Usually it works incredibly well. It's not uncommon for him to come out at the bell and look to drop fighters. And what's really, really great about him is his ability to keep control on the ground is fantastic. Um, Against Usman, he looked great. Against Whitaker, he looked great. The thing that I wonder about, right, which is where I've determined my pick, is whether he'll be able to use that style against Dricus. If so, then I would say the fight goes to Shmaev. He'll be able to maintain control, tire out Duplessis on the ground. The thing is, though, it, he's a very different type of fighter than I think Chimaev has fought in most cases. Right? If you watch Duplessis' rematch against Strickland, it's insane. Broke Strickland's nose, didn't stop swinging. So I can't. It's hard for me to imagine that Kamzat's going to be able to have that level of control against Duplessis. I think this is going to be an incredible fight. I think there's so much potential. But when a line is set that high in favor of a fighter like Shemaev against a machine like Duplessis, I've got to take the underdog here because I do not see it being that lopsided a fight. It'd be one thing if Shemaev, let's say 150 or something like that, but 250, nah, it doesn't. It doesn't feel like Duplessis will roll over in that way for me. So I'm gonna notch Duplessis in for this one. Let me pick him. And so I've got Duplessis, I've got Murphy, I've got Price, I've got Page, and I'm going to want to lock in my picks. And you'll see when I click Duplessis, validate your prediction came up. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to validate my picks, lock them in, right? A little window comes up where I mark my transaction as complete. I'm going to refresh the screen just to make sure that all my picks have landed. They have. Beautiful. Right? And so now you'll see on the top, relax, your prediction is validated. That means that my picks are in, and we'll see how I do. I am going to lock these 4 picks in on BetMGM and get my parlay going as well. I hope that you are happy with your picks. I hope that you win. I mean, if your picks are different than mine, I hope that I win. But still, I wish you the best. Good luck with all your picks for UFC 319, whatever those might be. Again, make your picks at dap.spredict.io. We'd love to have you using our portal. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you here next time as we continue to use Spredict. Thanks again. Enjoy the day and see you soon.